Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt, and today it's not going good for Vladimir Putin, and we have very big news developing across Russia, Ukraine, and Iran, so let's jump right into it. This morning, Putin has called an emergency meeting as Russia's largest oil refinery has shut down after Ukraine slammed it with a major drone attack, and right now, chaos has erupted as citizens across Russia have begun demanding answers. Meanwhile, Ukraine launched another massive attack, striking wild targets such as the Belgorod International Airport and 9+ Russian ships attempting to dock at Russian ports, and as that was happening, Moscow air defense was fighting for its life as the attack droned on. And we can also report that the Russian stock market is plummeting at a record pace and appears to be on track for a collapse as the Russian bond market continues imploding under the strain of Putin's failed war. And also, we have some news that Iran's begun firing missiles at several ships in the Hormuz Strait yet again, causing major damage, and now the US says it's preparing a strong response on Iranian territory. So we have wild news today. Right now, Russia is in a full-on crisis mode now that their largest refinery shut down, and also the Iran situation is once again brewing back up to the surface, and it appears to be something's about to happen. But jumping into our first article, this one goes to Nexta. And I think it's fair to say this is our biggest story of the day. Right now, we're hearing that the last bastion of the Russian oil industry has fallen as of this morning, and the largest refinery inside of Russia, the Omsk oil refinery, has now suspended operations according to the most recent report, and that's a very, very big deal because as you note right here in Nexta's post, not only is it the largest refinery in Russia, but it also produced roughly 1 in every 8 liters of gasoline used in the country. So this was a very big attack. Right here you can see this is an image showing some of the damage right here, and this attack right here was devastating because it took out one of the primary processing units according to what I've read so far about this attack, and largely Omsk has never really been targeted before by the Ukrainians. They've not been able to reach it until just yesterday when a brand new attack drone variant was released by the Ukrainian military, and the first place they sent it was straight to Omsk, and it looks like it did its job quite well, and the refinery is now suspended for some indefinite period of time. So not sure how long it's going to be out, but this has the Russians in complete panic, and right now Vladimir Putin is not really sure what to do about this. And moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to Jay in Kyiv. And let the cope begin, because right now we're seeing that just 24 hours after Ukraine struck that refinery and then it got shut down just a couple of hours ago today, Putin is now calling an emergency meeting purely to appear as if something can be done to slow down the crisis that's starting inside of Russia with the fuel. And I would say at this point it's really not starting, it's really getting critical at this point. But as you can see right here in this article, it appears to be from TASS. You can see that Putin will discuss the work of Russia's transport and fuel complex with the cabinet of ministers on July the 8th, which is tomorrow. So what this is essentially, outside of that very mundane title, is this is an emergency meeting that Vladimir Putin is now holding with his top cabinet members to try to see if they can stop this crisis. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil this for them. There's really no way for them to solve it except to end that war inside of Ukraine and get the hell out of Ukrainian territory. That's the way they can end it, but outside of that though, Russia is in for some hell in the coming months and possibly even a collapse as well. But moving on from that though, and the appeared cope coming from Vladimir Putin, we also have here a post from Max26. And in the midst of the gas crisis, which is quickly getting very, very bad, we're now seeing that Russians are now chasing fuel trucks upon seeing them to get their tails on the truck and then to accompany them to the gas station in the hope of refueling their vehicles. So let's take a look here at this. Apparently, one of these, or a few of these Russians actually, have spotted this fuel truck and they're now allegedly tailing it from the looks of it. We did see, I think like yesterday or the day before that, we saw some Russians getting on the hood of their car and then doing a James Bond maneuver to climb up on the ladder on the back of the fuel truck and then I guess like ride it to the gas station or something. So the Russians are getting desperate to find the fuel. So let's take a look at the video. And there you can see it, some person driving their vehicle right here, and there's also a fuel truck right there, as you can see. And it's just driving down the road, and this guy is sort of looking at it here, filming it. You can tell he's very amused by seeing some fuel on the road, because it's kind of becoming rare these days to see that. And also, the fuel that is being transported these days, I've heard some bad things about it. But as you can see, though, there he is. He's just really loving that fuel truck. He's wanting a piece of that fuel really badly right there. A lot of Russians want a piece of fuel, but it's kind of hard to get. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to War Translated. We're also seeing the residents of the city of Omsk, which is where that oil refinery refinery is located, the largest one in Russia, those residents are now panicking. They're going to the petrol stations and they're not finding hardly any petrol, and when they are finding it, the prices are insanely high, and now some of the Russians are filming and showing how bad it is. So let's take a look at that. So here he is right here. He said, a situation at the petrol station, lads, in Omsk. And he's looking around here at all the cars sitting around the station. There comes like some car pulling up. He said, I'm still completely baffled by what's going on, guys. And there you can see it. It looks like he actually is getting fuel, but sort of steep. He said, my petrol can's here just in case. And what in the heck is that? Like some styrofoam thing? I guess that was a joke or something. But as you can see, though, not going great. This dude right here is filming, and there's clearly a huge line at the gas station, to say the least. I'm not sure if the other Russians are going to find that joke too amusing about the gas canister in the back. But moving on from that, though, just to show you the panic inside of Omsk and also the Russians in pure disbelief, our next one here is going to go to War Translated yet again. And moving on from the news about the fuel crisis that's currently getting to the point where it's really going critical. We're now seeing that another huge attack that Ukraine conducted last night has yielded some pretty wild results. And just to show you the initial phase of the attack, here's a map right here. As you can see right here, over 350 Ukrainian drones were en route to Russian targets, including some, I believe, some jet drones down here at the bottom left corner, likely heading toward Novorossiysk. And as you might be able to notice, there's a huge cluster heading straight for Moscow up there, and we have some news about that coming up. But also, Rostov-on-Don was a strong target, Crimea was once again a major target, and all those locations have had some severe damage that you'll probably be very interested to hear coming up in our next post here. And the first one is going to go to Ocean Technical. So the first large casualty of this major attack was apparently the Belgorod International Airport. So that's a pretty big target there, to say the least. Now it's apparently a large Russian helicopter base and being used for the Russian military to a large extent, but Ukraine hit it with the HIMARS-launched GMLRS rockets at this location, and we did see that the airfield's fuel depot was ablaze. So that appeared to be the main target. They were trying to hit the fuel that was located there at that airfield. So let's take a look and see how bad the fire was after they were struck. And that does look pretty bad right there. That's the site, the Belgorod International Airport, you can see right there. And that's apparently the fuel depot sitting on the side of it right there that's currently burning after the Ukrainian drone struck it. So it looks like it was taken out. And once again, I'm sure the Russians are crying about that because they probably won't be able to replace that fuel very easily, it would be my guess. But the Belgorod International Airport hit quite badly. But also, we got some more details here in our next post. This one also goes to Ocean Technical. And also in the city of Belgorod, we did see that the natural gas distribution facility in the city of Belgorod was hit, and it looks like it went up in huge blazes too. Another HIMARS rocket apparently hit this one, and now there's gas supply interruptions reported in multiple parts of the city. So they're also having a natural gas shortage on top of a gasoline shortage. So gas is not in very good supply, but let's take a look at this one. Yes, a roaring inferno, as they call it. And as you can see right there, that is a very bad fire. And I think the gas distribution plant might not be distributing quite as well as it was. I think it might be distributing straight into the atmosphere, actually, but not very good. And that's a big loss yet again. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to Max 26. We've also seen that the Russians are trying a new tactic. They are trying to bring in cargo ships, tanker ships, etc., to bring in supplies, fuel, and more to apparently what we're being told is Kerch Port. And also, Kerch Port's been the site of many hits over the last couple of weeks. But as you can see right here, about 38 vessels are trying to make their way toward Kerch Port, and right here we have another angle of it too, where you can see it a little bit more clearly. That's a lot of vessels trying to make their way to Kerch Port right there, and the Ukrainians saw that, and they really didn't approve of it very much. They saw that and said, no, that's not good. The Russians are sending stuff via ship. That's going to break our blockade on Crimea. So what did Ukraine do? They started an absolute siege, and I mean a siege on these ships coming in right here. We've seen that about 9+ ships have been hit so far, and the Ukrainians recorded all those hits in the video. I can show you a few of them, by the way, but just to show you that allegedly what Ukraine hit was 8 sanctioned Russian tanker ships, according to what the Ukrainians are saying, also 1 dry cargo vessel, and a ferry north of the Kerch Strait. So the Ukrainians were hitting stuff left and right, and they're being reported to be sanctioned Russian tanker ships that were hit left and right. So let's take a look at the first part of this video here, and you can see a part of this siege that took place just about a few hours ago. Let's take a look. And look at that. Look at all those ships out here. I mean, that's what we saw from the satellite right there. But as you can see, though, there's a ship right here apparently moving in. And this drone right here literally has a plethora of targets to pick from. I mean, they can't even choose a target, really. They're indecisive because there's so many. But they hit one of them right there, though. There's one. It's burning quite badly, to say the least. It must have been a tanker. There's Ukraine's little emblem. Moving forward, I mean, and also, by the way, this is like a 5-minute long video, so I can't show all of it. But they literally were hitting ship after ship. 9+ ships were hit during this attack right here. So absolutely insane to see that. If you want to see the whole video, by the way, you can check that out on our Twitter page, but that's just a glimpse of that huge siege that just took place. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Austin Technical yet again. We've also seen that during that drone attack, Ukrainian forces hit even more major power substations in Russian-occupied Crimea, causing another wave of blackouts across the peninsula. And there was already a blackout in pretty much every major area of Crimea already. So this is making it even worse. You can see right here, this is the NASA firm satellite screenshots, and these substations are completely on fire according to what we're seeing from the satellite. So very bad, and expect more blackouts of the power inside of Crimea. But moving into our next post, this one's going to go to Max26. And also, while Crimea was fighting for its life, the Russian ships were fighting for their life, we also saw that in the place itself, the city of Moscow, the capital of Russia, they were also fighting for their lives there as well, apparently. They were deploying air defenses around the city, including on the tops of overpasses. As you can see right here, there's one of those Russian air defenses on an overpass. They simply just drove it up there. And we also have a short video showing it too, so let's take a look. Yes, as you can see, a Russian air defense system where it really shouldn't be, on the top of an overpass with civilians passing right over it. Tell me the Russians really care about their civilians. I don't think they do. They wouldn't put that right there next to the civilian overpass, knowing that that's a military target and Ukraine's going to try to hit it. That's quite reckless, but that's status quo for the Russians at this point. Also, by the way, this dude right here basically geolocated that for the Ukrainians by filming the exact location, all the markers around it. I could easily find out where that was if I wanted to. I'm sure someone already has, but that is quite an interesting situation. Stuff on overpasses to defend the city of Russia, or the city of Moscow, that is, not Russia. But moving into our next one here, this one also goes to Max26, and we got some information from the mayor of Moscow. He said from the evening until 6 a.m., more than 430 drones were flying toward the Moscow region. Most were neutralized by air defense forces on the distant approaches, according to the mayor, and 36 enemy UAVs were destroyed on approach to Moscow. Forgive me if I don't put much confidence in Mr. Mayor's words right here, because I really don't. It's true that over 430 drones were flying around, and I would imagine that some hits were probably like recorded in Moscow. We're simply waiting on the footage from it, because this is still a very fresh attack, and we haven't gotten that footage so far. But I would imagine that not all of them were shot down, because we've seen literally the Moscow refinery get hit left and right during that attack, and no air defense was shooting anything down. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't really buy that. But moving into our next one here, this one's also going to go to in Kiev. In the midst of all the fuel crises, the war going sideways, Putin fighting for his regime to stay afloat, the economy inside of Russia is crying out for help. The Russian stock market's down 25% in just the past 45 days. And in this chart right here that Jay and Kiev posted, you can see this is the Russian index, and it is going down pretty badly. And that's not a good sign, because also at the same time, the Russian bond market is imploding and the yields are going through the ceiling, and they're increasing at a rapid pace, which usually is a distress signal for an economy. So it's not looking good. The stock market going down through the floor, and I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. And I think Russia's going broke. But moving into our next one here, this one goes to Nexta. I have one other funny detail that y'all might want to hear about that gasoline crisis inside of Russia. The Russian drivers are now massively complaining about gasoline that damages their cars. So the gasoline that they are able to find is apparently a lower grade of gasoline than Russia usually distributes. And apparently that was approved by the Russian government just about a few days ago. They approved this lower grade of fuel that has been deemed to be damaging to new car engines and modern car engines. But now we're seeing that car services in Russia begun recording a sharp increase in requests due to fuel-related problems, and car owners are reporting breakdowns after filling up with low-quality gasoline. So now the drivers need expensive repairs to their fuel systems and engines after they're already spending about 40% of their monthly gross income on simply buying that crappy gasoline. So essentially, the Russian people are getting fleeced. Now their cars are broken, they don't have any gasoline, and they still have no way to get around anywhere. So, I mean, that's pretty bad. I think the people might be getting a little bit irritated with Mr. Vladimir Putin there. But moving into our next post here, we have one from Geo Insider, and it's now time to move on from all of our Russia-Ukraine news, which is wild today once again. We also have some brewing war again inside of the Middle East, specifically dealing with Iran and the United States, and it's starting to get really ugly really quickly yet again. So let's take a look. Because we can see that late yesterday evening, we got a report that the UK MTO put out saying that it received information that apparently a tanker was reported being hit by an unknown projectile on the port side of their vessel, causing a fire whilst traveling southbound, probably out of the Strait of Hormuz would be my guess. So the Hormuz Strait is still open, technically open, maybe depending on who you ask, but it is highly unstable and Iran is still hitting ships left and right. So right now, it's not known exactly how many have been hit. I've seen people show that apparently 4 vessels have been hit by the Iranian forces by missiles, but we don't know the exact number. But the point is, though, Iran's back to attacking ships in pretty big numbers, though. We just don't know the exact number. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to World Source News. And right here, we do get some more information about what apparently happened in the Strait of Hormuz. The IRGC allegedly fired at 2 missiles at commercial ships, and then the U.S. officials said that 2 commercial ships were hit and suffered significant damages, but no casualties. So that's coming from one source. Waiting to get some more corroboration of that, because honestly, I would like other sources to confirm that, because I'm a little bit skeptical about some of them. But we'll move on to our next post here to give you all some more details. And this one, it goes to World Source News yet again. We're also seeing that Iran is putting out the threats yet again. Iran's TV is now saying that any U.S. provocation will be met with Iran's decisive response, and an informed official confirmed that traffic in the Strait of Hormuz is conducted in accordance with Iran's arrangements, adding that any provocative action by the U.S. will be met with an immediate and decisive response. So the threats are already flying. Iran's already saying they're going to try to attack the United States if anything is interfered with in the Strait of Hormuz, and plot twist, the U.S. is already there trying to help ships get out. So they're already interfering, so the stage is being set for yet another confrontation. And moving into our next post here, this one is going to go to open source intel, and we get some more details about how close that confrontation might actually be. And it does appear that a U.S. official is already stating that Iran struck 3 commercial vessels near the Strait of Hormuz, which is varying a little bit different from the rest of the reports we got. And it's a blatant violation of the Memorandum of Understanding, and Washington is weighing its options. So that means that Washington is likely planning some love tap or some mild attack on Iran to show them what for. And we've seen that happen at least 2 or 3 other times so far. Generally, these attacks by the U.S. forces on Iran are very, very light, and they're simply intended to make it look like something's happening, but it's really not a whole bunch going on with the U.S. retaliation. So it's kind of hard to tell if we're back to love taps again or we're back to like a full-on war. It's kind of hard to tell. The Middle East situation is weird as hell about what's going on in that region right now, and to try to guess what's going to happen there is almost impossible at this point. So we'll just wait and see what's going to happen, but right now it does appear that something is coming around the corner dealing with the U.S. and Iran. But with that, folks, that is actually our last article of the video. So before you go, smack the like button to let us know you enjoyed the video. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel as well to get notified of our daily war uploads just like this one, and stay notified of what's happening around the world. Also, if you want to support our channel financially, you can do so on our Patreon page. And I'll put the link below for our Patreon, and you can go over there and check it out. We post some behind the scenes stuff over there sometimes, and also you can support the channel through our Patreon page, and we are greatly appreciative for everybody that keeps our channel running with those support on Patreon. And with that, folks, we'll see you all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for the next Nightly War News stream. And with that, bye-bye for now.